All right, guys, welcome to this live trading session, market update, whatever you want to call it. This is CryptoGasm here from Cryptogasmic Educational Platform and Cryptocurrency Investing Facebook group. Really glad to have all of you on board here. We're going to do these once a week to try and go through the charts and see where we are live and just see what's going on. So I'm coming at you live from Acapulco. At the moment, we're here for the big crypto and freedom event called Anacapulco, which is hosted by my buddy Jeff at the Dollar Vigilante. If you're not a member of the Dollar Vigilante, I really suggest you go across to Jeff's YouTube. If you hate the banks and the governments and the system and the way it all sort of is, and you're a believer that crypto can be the vehicle that we've all been finally waiting for to stop ourselves from enslavement, then get across to the Dollar Vigilante. It's a really good platform. But the conference here has been amazing. Some great speakers. We've got Roger Ver tomorrow. Love him or hate him, I'm very interested to see what he has to say. A lot of great talkers talking about how we can disrupt the state. And it was a real pleasure last night. First of all, we had Dr. Ron Paul, who ran for the President of the United States. And being Australian, not even American, whenever I used to watch the debates and the presidential runs, I didn't even really know who this guy was. I just always remember sitting there going, he's the only guy that makes sense to me standing on the stage. Just made pure sense to me. Let's get rid of the weapons in the world and create a system that actually works for the people. It just made sense. And I could never understand why the guy was never elected president of the United States. But after being here, I met with people like Ben Swan, who was fired from Fox from his TV show Reality Check because he was basically too honest in reporting the real news instead of fake news. Then he went over to CBS, I think, and he got fired from there as well for telling the truth. And now, courtesy of Dashcoin, he's got his own uncensored show on YouTube called Reality Check. So I really suggest, and he was explaining how basically the media outlets completely gave instructions to shut down Ron Paul in any coverage wherever they could. If you go back and look at the old footage of some of the debates and some of the, like CNN and Fox would report who's winning the presidential race, and then they would have number 3. They would completely leave out who was coming number 2 and who do you think that was? It was Ron Paul. So it just shows you how big how powerful that media is in brainwashing people, and how the politicians and the banks and everybody use that media to get what they want out of us. Okay, so anyway, that's the end of that spiel. We had a really big earthquake here yesterday. It was a bit scary. I was sitting out on the grass with some hippies, and the ground just started shaking. So, it was a bit scary, but, I feel sorry for the people that were in the middle of it. Okay, so we've got a chat box down here. Yeah, Ron Paul was cool. Yeah. So we've got a chat box there. We're going to start off looking at Bitcoin. Those of you who are in my Cryptogasmic group know that we like to plan our trades. We like to do trades with zero emotion. And we understand that the cycles run on, it's just an emotional cycle that goes from hope to thrill to euphoria, down to panic, down to capitulation, down to depression, down to anger, and then the hope starts, and these cycles just run over and over and over again. So the perfect example is Bitcoin. If you bought Bitcoin at $2,000 and sold it at $10,000, you're a happy person. I advised my group to sell Bitcoin at $9,500 back in November. Okay, we missed the euphoric run up to 20,000, up to here, but we never chased it. Because my initial analysis was we were going to probably find the top around 10 and then bleed back down to about 6, 5 to complete the emotional cycle. So I basically got the analysis right there. We just missed the impulse play. Obviously kept some spot coins. So with Bitcoin in the group, Jonathan, Ron Paul was fantastic. Honestly, even now, he's obviously very old. But he was amazing on the stage. He was great with the people. And his whole message was just do whatever you guys want to do, but just do it with love and kindness. Don't hurt people. And wouldn't the world be a better place if we took away the weapons? And he was explaining that Now the media are saying that there were 13 Russians involved in the US election. Let's get another 70 missiles. How's that the answer? It's just ridiculous. So he's a big advocate for peace and working things out in a diplomatic way and really trying to do the things. And I think the whole thing with anarchism here, at the event, there's a lot of we hate the government, we hate this, but not a hell of a lot of solutions coming forward. And I'm a solutions guy. I want to know the solutions now, and I believe cryptocurrency and blockchain is a solution to get us away from banks. So I'm just going to finish this rant with one last thing. That is, let me ask you one question. What are you doing personally to fulfill the object that us anarchists are trying to fulfill by getting away from the banks and the governments? For example, me, I haven't paid tax in 25 years. I've mastered the art of how to live as an expat around the world, live an amazing life, run businesses, fund my lifestyle, make enough money so I can help other people. I can fly around the world, business class, first class. I've got enough money to eat, travel, lie on the beach, eat margaritas, do cryptocurrency, which I love, and not pay taxes, have different bank accounts set up in the world, and really have no domicile. So that's my contribution towards getting away from state and government. And I now want to educate other people how they can do it. Some other people I've met are getting rid of their houses, and they're going to move to middle of New Mexico and build a complete self-sufficient house, which will then become a self-sufficient community, as in self-sufficient community bank, self-sufficient community food, groceries. So just ask yourself that one question. What is it? I was talking with some guys last night, some Aussie guys at dinner, at the Ron Paul dinner, and, they were giving it all the big talk, and I'm holding because of this and holding because of that. And I said, but what do you do for real money? And they said, we're real estate agents. I said, okay. You own the company? Yeah. Do you accept Bitcoin? No. I said, well, then stop the talk. Until you're doing something that actually helps the system, stop talking the talk, and you've got to walk the walk, right? So there we go. Yeah, actually, he wanted to shrink the government. The words he actually used were, I want to bring the government to zilch, was the words. I just can't understand how he was not voted the American president and George Bush was. It just absolutely ceases to amaze me. But, let's not get into politics. Okay, so Bitcoin. We're looking at the logarithm chart here. So as you can all see, we had a really parabolic rise. So let's just put all this in perspective. From, from down here, we had this parabolic trend. That came up, touched the trend, came down into the cloud, came up, touched the trend, came down into the cloud. So it rode the bottom of this trend line, and then in November, we breached that trend line. Very bullish move, okay? So this is kind of around about the point where I got out of the market, expecting, if we zoom in a bit, when we kind of got up here and started to fall, I was thinking this was going to be the ABC retracement, but we got a big pump here from all the media and all the retail traders and Coinbase and all that sort of stuff, and people come in and paid way too much money for Bitcoin. So I didn't chase it, knowing that the way the emotional cycle works, that it's going to fall, and that's all we've done. So a lot of people are throwing around the world bubble, crash. It's only a bubble or a crash. I mean, the whole thing is a bubble, and we'll get into that later. It is a bubble, and it is going to crash at some point. That's without a shadow of a doubt. So you just got to make sure that you're placed at the right seat. You want to be at the seat that's early, or do you want to be at the seat that rushes in late to buy and then everything crashes and you're stuck holding a bag of shit for a little while? So we got out here around about 9,500, didn't chase it. We was watching this retracement down, and we saw this reversal coming here. This was basically the last line on the Fibonacci. Otherwise, if it got through here, it was going to break all the way down and do a really big 88% retracement, something like that, like it did back in 2014. If we go back and have a look, oh man, I hate Google. All right, if we go back and we look at 2014, okay, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This here, okay. So take the prices and the figures out of consideration, right? You can see that the market moves in complete cycles, all right? Now, You can see we had in 2014, we had a real parabolic trend as well. Look at this, boom. Okay, and then we got a retracement on that move right in here on the 88 fib line. And we bounced around in here from 2014 until the end of 2015. And this run down took from the 25th of November, December 2013, and we didn't sort of get hope again until the end of 2015, so 2 years, guys. So that's why you can't kid yourselves that this can't be in a downward depression for the next year. It's happened before. Do I think it's going to happen now? Well, that's what we're here to find out. But if we have the same retracement on that cycle, right, this is where the analysts come up with the figures of 2,500 to 3,000. We could easily bleed down through this cloud onto here. So this is why we've got to be really, really careful. And a big part of crypto is getting amazing entry and then making sure we get the exit and take the profit when it's there. What's the point of sitting and looking at digital numbers all day? So you've got to take some profit. And at the end of the day, cryptocurrency, even though we all believe in it, it should be there to fund our lifestyles so we don't have to work a job, so we can have some extra money to pay off our mortgages, go on a holiday, whatever it is, create some kind of financial freedom. But it's only financial freedom if you take it out and you use it in the real world. I can't go down and, what do I want to do with my life instead of playing golf? Instead of dealing in crypto and spreading the word of crypto, I love to go and play golf, go to the beach, have some margaritas, go and do a bit of kickboxing. None of those people take Bitcoin, Dashcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, fuck tokens, none of them. They don't take any of them. So just remember that, guys. You've got to have no emotion and don't get personally attached to any coin. It's a vehicle so we can make some money. Whether that's long-term, pull it out every month as a wage. For me, I want to treat it as a wage. I want to pay myself a wage. This is my job. And this is what supports my lifestyle. That's my goal, my aim, and that's what I want to teach people. Different circumstances call for different strokes. I understand that, but that's what we're trying to do. So let's have a look at the analysis on Bitcoin. So as we were falling down, I was really focusing on the smaller time frames, the 1 hour, the 30 minutes, the 15 minutes. And we started off with some trend lines, some simple basic trend lines. And you can see here very easily, for the first time in as far back as we go, right? 2017 at least, not one stage do we fall through the daily cloud. Now this is where swing traders buy. They wait, they buy it in the cloud. As soon as we get a reversal, they buy it here. They wait until it gets away from the cloud. As it starts to come back in, they sell. As it comes back in, and then if it falls through, you get rid of it. So this was a pretty big bearish move here when we fell through here. So we fell through a few things. We fell through the parabolic trend line. We fell through it. We didn't tag it and keep going. We really fell through it. And you can see that once we fell through it, we fell through it hard. Okay. So there's a lot of people out there who in the crypto investing page who say trading analysis is bullshit. It doesn't work, and it's all this. It's right 80% of the time because it's based on human emotions. Right? It's an emotional cycle. All I look at when I see this, all I look at and what I see is this: hope, optimism, belief, thrill, euphoria, complacency, or maybe we're in complacency now. Ask yourself, are you feeling pretty complacent now? Whew, we've had the dump and now everything's picking up. It's okay. That's complacency. That's the most dangerous part at all. Right? Is anybody feeling that complacency now after feeling a little bit of that anxiety? So this was a bit of anxiety coming down here. We've just cooled off now. Anybody feeling that? I'd love to hear your messages or see your messages in the chat if you can still hear me. So this could be complacency. Okay. So let me just delete some of these things here. Let me just get rid of these. Okay, so this is why we've got to be really careful. And just remember, guys, only 10 days ago, everybody was panicking. And, you know, should I sell, should I sell, should I sell? And with every last breath I had in our group, I was telling you to hold and wait. We were going to get a reversal at some point, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that reversal is going to go to the moon. Okay, so we advised to buy here, and we set our first target here. Now, this could easily go one of two ways. For those of you who have done my trading course, you'll understand Elliott waves, and you'll understand the ABC correction. So this could just be A, complacency B into this cloud, and then we finish off the emotional cycle. Okay, so we've got to be very careful of that. So right now we're watching Bitcoin in steps and stages, and we're trying to be as smart as we can. You know, October, November, December last year, any fool could make money, and I think it fooled a lot of people into thinking they were great traders. You could buy any piece of shit at $1 and it would be $5 the next week. That doesn't make you a good trader. You got to educate and learn about this right-hand side of the cycle, which I just showed you happened in 2014. It happens, guys. So let's look at it and look at the points that we have to break through. So our trend lines are obviously important, okay? And I put a Fibonacci. So basically, I call this the 2017 trend. I put a fib over this whole cycle here. Okay. No, I went shorter term, sorry. No, in here. Just on this recent impulse. Okay. Just looking at that recent impulse of where all that money came in and the retracement on that, just for now. Okay, just for now. So, just tighten this up a little. Yeah. So, as we come, this was the last point, and then the impulse took off. Okay, we never really come back into the cloud from here. So I'm looking at this from September when it was, how much was it there? $3,200 to $20,000 from September to December. It's too fast, it's too quick, and the reality doesn't go like that. Okay, so once we broke this line, we went completely bullish, and we come down, and as soon as we broke through this line, it also was in confluence with the falling through the daily cloud, and we've also got these shorter term and longer term bottom line trend lines. So once we fell through all three of those, we were then watching it very, very closely. And this fib line here was basically our last line. If we would have fallen through here, complete capitulation and panic part of the cycle would have broken out, and we would have ended up down to the full 88% of the full year cycle, which would have been right down here somewhere. And it is still a possibility. Okay. So right now, once we bounced up to 6,800 or 6,600 or the wick down here, which was, I think it went to 5,000, didn't it? I'm not sure. Let's call it 6,000. Once we got the reversal here, then we had to start watching this in steps, and we had certain levels that we had to break. The first one, from what I remember, was around, and I've deleted it because it's gone, was around about the 8,000. Ah, yes, that's right. Let me just get rid of this cloud. So we started to fall, and you can see it even better on a smaller time frame here. So we started to form a head and shoulders there. Okay. Right. So those of you who don't understand the trading yet, we had the left shoulder. We started to form the right shoulder. So basically, as soon as you break that neckline, which was in here, it takes off. And you can see that that analysis has worked perfectly. So in our group, I was really telling everybody that 8,800 is our first line, whether we get resistance here or whether we take off. There's a lot of retail traders out there that work purely on patterns and trend lines and Fibonacci lines. So once this broke the head and shoulders, I was 99.9% sure that we were going to get this impulse run up to the next trend line and target. And that's exactly what happened, right? So hopefully you took my advice on that in the thing. So we can get rid of that head and shoulders trend line for now. Okay. Let's go back to the data. Right. So our next point of interest, and also as we broke this here, we also broke the 50-day moving average, that's bullish. So we're going to look at both sides, bullish and bearish, because we were very bearish there for a little while, and we still could. So this is where we need to now start opening and closing these even the 6-hour candles. Let's start with the 6-hour candles. Okay. So you can see we've already painted a red candle here. So we need to start looking at the 12-hour and the dailies, and we now need to get open and closes above this trend line in here, which is around about sort of in this area here, the 10,900. So we're testing the $11,000 mark. And as you can see now, we're getting a bit of sideways movement, and it was pretty big that we broke the 10,000 psychology here. Okay. Again, you can see at this psychological point, we went sideways, and that also lines up. If you go back and look at previous cycles, we were challenging here. So these points of interest line up all the time. And I'm sure that if we go back, right, we're going to find another point of interest in the old cycle, which is right there. Okay, so these important points always come up, and you've got to look for those points. So even in this possible downward bear trend, we've managed to make some money by buying here. As soon as we moved away, we placed a stop loss at the 6,800 mark, so we can protect our capital. In Cryptogasmic, we've got a couple of rules, and two of those are, if we can't make money, we try to make sure that we at least don't lose any money. You know, just get stopped out. Maybe we can buy down here. Goes off, get stopped out. It's like a game of chess, all right? And you've got to become educated, and you've got to be smarter than the market. You've got to be smarter than the 90% of people who lose. So there's a lot of analysis that goes into it. So I'm more than prepared to take profit here on my Bitcoins. If we get resistance off this line and start to fall down to here, right? So I'll be looking at this area in here if we fall through there. Okay. Once if we break down below again 10,000 and we start coming down towards 9,500, then I'll take my $3,000 a coin profit and reanalyze the situation, and I'll take my money off the table right there, and I'll take my alts off the table with it, because whatever Bitcoin does, it affects everything else, being the granddaddy. So the best analysis we can do at the moment is basically just looking at certain trends. So we've got to get through here and get stable in this area. This is my first target where was going to look to take some profit. My wealth strategy is to take some profit when it's there, keep some in the game, because we do get these parabolic rises, and then put some aside for another day and just leave it and forget about it and don't worry about it. And we stack our Bitcoins through our alt trading, and we take some US dollars off the table to live our lives. And again, in the Cryptogasmic course and platform, I help people work out the best way for them. So we're now heading into a really important area. We need to be breaking this trend line. So expect some resistance around here. This may even go sideways for a little bit. There's 10,800, 11,000, 10,700, 10,600. Try not to watch it on a 5-minute, 15-minute, half an hour. Try to watch longer time frames to wash out all the noise at the moment. Okay. So that's the first point we're looking for. Let's have a look at some volume. The 6 hour. So you can see, again, we're looking, it's bullish. Volume, 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 volume. Let's come down a bit. Still a good volume trend. daily. Yeah. So a lot of volume at the moment coming back in. People are positive again. And isn't it amazing how fast things go in crypto? You know, 1 week ago, everybody was panicking that it was the bottom and it's the bubble. And all of my friends who don't believe and think I'm stupid about believing in crypto were all me emailing with big smiles on their faces and little emojis with smiles saying, I told you so. And, you know, it's just ridiculous. I don't know. Do you guys got those friends that as soon as there's a decrease in the price, they can't wait to actually be smug and tell you about it? You know, anybody got any of those sort of people in their lives? Let me just delete whoever that is. Yeah, human nature. My brother, yeah. I think my brother does it, but he just doesn't say. Just doesn't say anything. Let me just mute these. Yeah, there's plenty of those people. You know, you just let them. You know, there's no point in arguing or debating with them. You just go, okay, you know, and you just do your thing, and then they don't actually say anything, and then they'll come to you in 3 months and ask how they can actually buy some Bitcoin. Happens to me all the time. So there we go. Right, let's try and move through this a bit quicker. I haven't done the downtrend on this for quite a while yet, so let's have a look. We had quite a steep trend. So we're breaking these downtrends now as well. So let's go back to the bigger downtrend. Okay. So as you can see, let's change the color of this to yellow. We've got stages that we need to get through, and we're getting through them step by step. It's not going to go to 20 grand overnight, and it's not going to go to $3,000 overnight. So we've just got to work it out in stages and then understand that the alts are on the back. Now, I also said 10 days ago that if this bounces and starts to get support, we're all of a sudden going to start looking at some alt trades again. And that's what's happened. And over the last week, we've had some amazing trades. So when you stop and think about it, isn't it worth having a bit of patience for that as this downtrend is happening, just to wait? Because we can make 50%, 100%, 200% trades on the way up. We don't have to chase and be trading every single day, right? Because the profits that we made as this is going up here, this is also an indication of the alts trading. So we're doubling and tripling and quadrupling our Bitcoin, our Ethereum, as this is happening. So we've got to understand that we are going to get these down cycles. But it happens so much faster in crypto than it does in Forex or any of those kind of things, doesn't it? So we just got to make sure that we're buying in the right spots and we're selling in the right spots. And we're just becoming smarter with our decisions. And look, if you're one of the people that chase it up here, don't feel too bad on yourself. You know, 90% of the people do it. But now you've got to become the 10% who win, okay, and learn from that mistake. The great thing about crypto is you own that asset. You own it. So you can just hold it, and, you know, and sell it whenever you want. You don't have to give in to your emotion of panic and fear. And it's only on paper. And if you're panicking and fearing too much, you've probably put too much money in. And I advise that you should never put in more than you can afford to lose. That way, the emotions don't, you sort of go out and give a fuck, you know, like it doesn't really matter. So these are the levels that we're looking at now. Let me just have a look at the cloud for a second. So you can see we're trying to make our way back up through this cloud. And once we get through this cloud, we're also then getting above these lines. Once we get above this, if we can get ourselves back up above this parabolic trend line and then start a new trend for 2018 as we did in 2016. Okay, so look, you've got the 2017 trend there. Okay, then you've got the 2016 trend. Okay, something like, let's have a look. Let's get rid of that cloud. 2016 trend would be something like this. Okay. So it's the same pattern as you can see. We come up, touch the line, and I'm sure if I put the cloud on there, we probably never fell through the cloud either. Right. So it's the same pattern in 2016. And then what happened? It broke out. But on this pattern, and then we came down. But look, In the 2016 trend, we didn't break that line. We hit and we took off. So what's the difference now? Is we fell through that trend line for the first time, and we fell through it hard. So this is why we've got to be careful. And we're not clear, and we're not going to continue this parabolic trend until we get back on top of this trend line, which is my other target point of interest, which is also aligned with the top of the Ichimoku cloud. So this is again going to be a point of interest for me, and these were some fib points where I would be looking to take some profit off the table from some trades. So I don't think right now is a smart time to go and buy some if you're not already in Bitcoin. I would wait, because this can hit here and then bounce back down. Or you're better off to let it come back up here and then find a little retracement, and then it might come down and hit this line again and take off. You're better off to buy it a bit later or wait for it to bleed down. Okay. So my overall analysis for Bitcoin is I'm still very bullish on it. It is very organized on the news and things like that. And you can see now, all right, $100 million, $100 billion has come back into the market in over the last week or so. If we have a look at this, the internet here is very slow. But all the top 10, except for Litecoin, are in the green. But Litecoin's had a really great run. You can see on the map, on the chart here. And look, they're all similar, aren't they? They're all similar in their upward trends. And the positive that you got to look at, guys, okay, is that if we look at the 5-year Bitcoin map chart, right, there's lots of these up and down cycles, but look at the overall trend. Okay, so just show that to people who want to say that we're in a bubble. It's really that simple. How is that a trend? But it is a bubble. Everything's a bubble. Look here, it went up, it crashed down. But if you bought here and sold here and didn't even get involved in this side of the market, then it's not a bubble. It's only a bubble for the people who chased it. And basically, what's happening now? Have we got anybody in the group here who and please, don't be too embarrassed, but do we have anybody here who ran out and bought Bitcoin? And sorry, another important point here, guys, look, is we've just broken, we've broken the 50 and the 200-day moving average, right? Hopefully you can see that. We've just broken that now. And that just happens to coincide with that trend line. So people can't tell me that emotions and trading analysis doesn't work. It really, really does. So this is a really important, this is what I mean. It's really important now that we start opening and closing above this area. So expect some resistance around here, but we need to stay above this moving average. And then as you can see, my other point where I was going to start to get out is where this moving average is. And that would probably start to fade out a little. And once we start getting below those are the times we need to get out of the market and take our profit and then just wait for the next opportunity to come. So that's Bitcoin. I hope that made a lot of sense to everybody. I hope it helps you a little bit. Let's move on. Bitcoin Cash. Same thing. All the charts are almost identical, right? So when you were all panicking at these times, these were just the most amazing times to buy something again. While everybody was chasing up here, I was desperately waiting for this moment. And as it was coming down, everybody was panicking and panicking. You've got to remember, markets are just designed to wash people out. So all of these people who chased here, what happened? At the very worst, they got washed out of the market and people panic sold. At the very best, you probably started questioning your trade and panicking and going, what's going on here? I was up 50% and now I'm at break even, or I'm down 30%. I get endless messages from people saying, Cryptogasm, should I sell? Should I sell now and buy back cheaper and buy another trade? No. Don't be the 90%, guys. So I'm sure there's plenty of you who entered crypto at the wrong time, but the positive is you entered for a good reason because you believe in the system and you believe in what we're trying to do. Go away and research blockchain and what we're trying to do, and you'll be okay with your investment. Okay, let's move on quickly through a few other coins. What other trades are we in? Dash, I'm absolutely huge on, and I stacked up on Dash coin. I mean, what an opportunity this was, guys. Did anybody buy Dash here when I sent out the signals to buy this for under $450? For me, Dash is one of the most aggressive, marketing-wise. I mean, you know, their brand image is everywhere. It's even here. Whenever you get a chance, get some Dash into your portfolio at the right time. Okay, and again, you can just see the emotional cycle. And same thing, we're now just breaking these averages. Okay, so you've got to keep in mind everything does. If Bitcoin performs, these coins perform. If Bitcoin fails, everybody gets out of these. They sell Bitcoin back into Bitcoin, and they sell for US dollars. That's the way it goes. All right. So there's some bullish signs there on Dash. Again, if we look at the trends quickly, all right. So, you know, we're just getting a comeback. We've just broken the trend here. And there's a lot of coins out there that perform much better than Bitcoin percentage-wise. And again, you've got to understand, guys, that whether it's gold, Apple shares, oil, they all follow this. There's always a left and a right-hand side to the market. So look, just like the first cycle of Bitcoin, it's done an 88% retracement. So even if Bitcoin fell right back to $3,000, $4,000, it's totally acceptable within the spec of trading to do so. So count your blessings if it doesn't do that, because it has every right in the world, and it would be technically okay for that to happen, because the market's got to wash the people out and it's got to correct itself. Have a quick little look at the cloud. So same thing. It's exactly the same. We fell through the cloud big time for the first time in a year, and now finally the momentum is building. So the 3 hour is now broken through for the first time since the downtrend, and the 3 hour now needs to move the momentum to here. So the next point of resistance is probably going to be here somewhere as it gets, you know, it's going to challenge the $800 mark. But we're not clear until we start clearing these daily clouds. Look how far away we moved. Look at we moved away from the cloud. We moved away from the moving averages. You know, we need it. These pumps are fantastic, and we made a lot of money. I bought Dash in here somewhere. I sold out a bit early in here at 780, expecting this down, and then same as Bitcoin, boom, it took off. So I missed this, and I was desperate to wait, but I didn't change Dash. I didn't chase Dash. I just let it do its, hopefully, ABC. A, B, C down, and let's hope that's the end of it. Okay. Right, David has written, all the alts seem to follow Bitcoin. I have several alts, and I have switched my USD to go up versus Bitcoin going down. Okay. You know, if you want to advise people on how you do that and stuff, that'd be great. So let's move on. EOS I'm a big fan of, and I'm trying to get the right spot to buy back into EOS, but it's just not the right time. I played all of these waves. I played on the way up. Again, I got out around here, and then we had this fake pump. This did exactly what Ripple did. So EOS seems to be following Ripple. So if it does follow Ripple, maybe it will get its turnaround. But it's broken back through the trend, and it's just looking a little bit bearish at the moment. And you can see it's still, you know, I wouldn't be running out and buying EOS. The 12 hours just turned. Yeah, we're still a couple of days away from making a decision on EOS. So let's get down and have a look at Litecoin. Okay, let's just tidy this up a little bit. So let's just look at the moving averages quickly. So look, Litecoin, it fell below the 200-day moving average here. It came back up, it tagged it, it came down. And look how it's bouncing off of these moving average lines. And then when it fell through both, boom, it went. It made a rally, couldn't break through, bounced off the moving average, the 50-day moving average, came down, made another attempt, went sideways, and once it broke out, boom, boom, it broke out, big time. Okay, so really, really bullish move there. So let's just clean this up and just turn these moving averages off. Okay. Litecoin on the daily is performing better than the other coins. Look, we're actually now just breaking out the top of the green cloud. So this is very bullish for Litecoin, guys, that it's managed to break the green cloud. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's focus now on Litecoin. Look at back here, the volume that came in these 3 days. Here, out of nowhere. Now, the last time we had that amount of volume here was the big pump that we had back in September that took it from, I sent out a signal to buy Litecoin, I think it was $80, right? And it never ceases to amaze me. Nobody took me up. I had to keep repeating myself. And then once it hit $200, people would message me saying, hey, CryptoGasm, what's a good price to buy Litecoin? Well, freaking 2 weeks ago when it was $80. Okay, so you got to really learn that, guys, not to chase things. And once they take off, it's too late. You got to wait because you do know that it's going to come back again. So let's do some analysis on Litecoin. Where do we think we're going with Litecoin? So we sent out the signal here off of this line to buy under $140, which again was the right signal. And we're just reaching our first possible take profit, and you can see we're just meeting a bit of resistance on the top of the cloud here. But I do think we're going to go up into our profit zone up in here, and I measured that by just taking a quick fib on this run down. Okay, and I would expect that we're going to come back and challenge these tops. So my target is about 275. For Litecoin, and that's the point when I'm going to maybe look to take a bit of profit. A 61% run back up would be technically kind of accurate. It also runs here with these tops where it met resistance, and there was also straight across here on the same line. Isn't it amazing how these lines work? Look, support, resistance, 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 bounce, bounce, bounce. Support, 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 resistance. Okay, so the next level of resistance is probably going to be, we've cleared this line, which is nice, the 217. So we're probably going to meet resistance around the 250, 245 to 250 mark on Litecoin. So don't panic if it goes 250 back down to 230, you know. Watch the daily cloud, and once we start, if we sort of come back down to here, and then once if we sort of break through this trend again, I'll take some money off the table there at 220, bought in at 140. I'm okay with, what is it, 60% there. I think we're going to come back and challenge these highs again of $370, and the same thing's going to happen. Litecoin's going to make the news. People are going to be running out. They're going to be paying $300, $350 for it. I'm not going to be paying $350 for it. I got my seat at the table here. I'm going to see what happens in these areas, and I may even buy some more. I would love to see an Elliott wave start to form. Let's just check that and see if that is a possibility. Hang on. Let's have a look here. Yeah, it did a 50% retracement there. So look, let's do Litecoin in according to Elliott wave theory. Let's have a look at that. Okay, so let's have a look. So if this is our first wave here, then we'll be looking at something like this. That's the wrong one. Come on. Bear with me, guys. So then we would be looking at something like this. 1, 2, which matches the trend. I would have said, yeah, 3 here. So I would probably expect this to maybe fall back down to the $200 mark. Okay, and if we can get some support around there, or even possibly here to test the 200 mark, then we're going to get up here into our final target zone, which I'm now going to move up into there, around that $300 mark. So if we look at it in Elliott wave theory, we're probably looking at something like that. Okay, this has actually gone up a little bit. Yeah, I mean, is this a small little fall? No, I would rather say that. Yeah, let me just have a look. Yeah, okay. So the 6 hours falling, 12 hours oversold. So Litecoin's very, very oversold at the moment, but it's got a lot of push in the longer time frames. So my analysis for Litecoin is this. I would expect Litecoin to drop down and tag this trend line again, probably test $200 maybe, and then go again. So I would be looking to buy more Litecoin in here, subject to finding confirmation. The RSI is showing me some longer term growth. The shorter time frames are showing me that it's oversold, so I would expect a little bit of a sell-off. RSI is super strong, and we're now in an upward trend. The daily is just starting to kick off. So we've still got a lot of room to go here. And we haven't even started to paint the upward trend on the 3 daily yet. And the weekly is going to be the same. Still in a downward trend. So be patient with Litecoin. I think that exactly what I said. But here in the red cloud, I wouldn't be surprised if we found some resistance here. Okay, maybe come up to tag 240 and then come back down. So I'm going to be, so according to Elliott wave theory, I could sell some in here now, but I'm going to just hold and wait. And I'm going to not panic as this falls. And as it falls into this zone, I'm then going to see if we get a bit of support. And if we do, I'm going to rebuy. And if we fall through, then I'm going to sell. Okay. David has written, do we hold current position or is there a stop? I've got a stop loss now at break even. I'm going to move that up and lock in some profit. So I bought in here around 140. So I'll probably put my stop loss in here, around about the 190 mark. Okay, so if I get stopped out, I take some profit, and if it falls through, then I'll look to rebuy somewhere. If it doesn't fall that way, I'm going to look to improve my position. And then when we get up in here, I'm going to look to probably sell 70% of whatever Litecoin I've got, and then I'll just roll the rest of it over, and then I'll wait for the cycle to blow out and then rebuy again later. So I hope that helps you with Litecoin. NEO, I'm huge on. For those of you who have just joined us, those of you who were in the group since the beginning would remember I was massive on NEO back under $30. I was begging everybody to buy it, and it just went sideways too long for I mean, the millennials couldn't wait. They couldn't wait 4 weeks to make 200%. But I stood in there. It went up, stopped me out. Went up, stopped me out. But I kept buying right along here, just in here. Okay. Sometimes it takes a couple of times to enter a trade. You get in, it goes up, it comes out, and it punks you out. And you get back in, right? You got to understand, guys, sometimes it takes a few times to get into a trade. Ethereum took me 4 times to get it under $200. And then, boom, the 4th time it went. So, now, NEO was here. We got out of NEO. I think it was around about here. I kind of made, I don't know whether it's a mistake, but this was the area 130 where we took out. I mean, we made a lot of profit, $100 a coin. And then when we got this down, I thought this was the beginning of the ABC, but it did what everything else did, and it went boom. So it's now correcting itself as well. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can see that NEO's completing the emotional cycle as well. Look, 1, 2, sorry, let me do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've done 5 waves down, or we can also look at it like this. You know that we've done an A, a B, and hopefully the C. So trading's all about ebb and flow, and it's all about momentum, and we're gaining that momentum with NEO again. We've just broken across the cloud. Thanks, Novak. See you later, man. And yeah, so NEO's still got a little bit of work to do, but it's on the track as well. So I would hope that this would start making some Elliott waves for us soon. So with NEO, I'm expecting the impulse 1, and then we're going to get a retracement, and then that's where I'm going to re-enter NEO. So just keep your eyes on that one. Okay, so let's get to some of the other signals that I sent out this week. OMG is performing well for us. We sent this signal out 3 days ago, I think, and it was to buy under 14.25, I believe. And it took off from there. OMG. It's going to go sideways for a little bit. It went up quickly, it's oversold. But again, 3 days showing some good strength, as is the weekly. So we need to start getting these smaller time frames to reset, which the hourly has done. Let's look at the... All right, so the MACD finally on the daily is just starting to paint a little upturn. So I'm still positive that we're going to continue. OMG is one of the coins that's first now starting to make another Elliott wave. Okay, so it held its retracement here. Okay, I don't know why I put that down there. There we go. So it found really strong support off of the 38 retracement, and it's taken off. So we got that signal right. We're now in the clear sky on the daily. Okay, starting to paint some green. This may come down and bounce off the line. So put a stop loss on break even on OMG. I mean, if you got in at the right point, you're probably, yeah, I mean, you're 20% up. So you can even move your stop loss up a little and just lock in 5% profit for now on your stop loss. And if you get stopped out, you can look to rebuy. And we'll just check the strength and the momentum again. But I would expect this to probably go sideways. It may take 10 days, 2 weeks to reach our target. But again, you've got to keep it real, guys. You know, everyone's chasing those pumps that, hey, did you see what happened to this coin? It went up 300% today. You know, if we're in a trade and that happens, great, but you can't go chasing those trades. So we're looking for $85% and then up to our fifth target, right? So if you can't wait 1 month to make, or 6 weeks, if you can't wait 6 weeks to make 150% on your money, then you've got to go start, get out of the la-la land, man. You're with the fairies, right? You've got to get into the real world, okay? So OMG is still on track. Rise got delisted from Bittrex, but I did send out a signal saying I really think it's worthwhile to buy some when it hit rock bottom, because I think it'll be relisted again, and then it'll go through. I think it's a great project. So it was worthwhile. I held some Rise. I bought some while it was cheap. I sent out a signal for Salt a few days ago. For those of you that are in my group, you know that we were in Salt in January just before the dump happened, and it was taken off really, really good in here, and then boom, it fell. But look, all it's done really again is the emotional cycle, and it's done a from back here to here. Okay, it's sort of basically got through again. Even the candle come down, and again the 88.3. So it's within the spec of a market retracement. So it's all about where you buy, and it did the classic A, B, C, and I'm hoping that we're going to get another 5 waves out of this. And I don't usually chase a lot of wave ones, but Salt is kind of a project I like because it's one of the projects that you can hold the coins and make money with it because you can actually put it into the market and get paid interest. So if you're not really familiar with Salt lending, I've got a love-hate relationship with Salt. I entered 4 or 5 ICOs back 6 months ago. One of them was PPT, Populous, and I'm going to say it right here now, fuck Populous Coin, and whatever his name is, Steve Nicholas, right, who was actually came out and they found out that he had been arrested and charged with fraud many years ago. I had my Populous coins stolen. They promised publicly they'd give them back to me, and they never did it, and now he's blocked me from Twitter and Facebook and everything. So fuck you, Populous. I can't recommend that coin at all. Salt lending, I had those stolen at the same time when I was very lackluster with my security. They refused to give me the tokens back, but to be honest, it was my fault that they were stolen. And I'm a really big believer in the project. I entered the ICO for a reason, and you know, I'm working out a way how I can get those coins back. So I did enter the trade here. We were on our way up again towards our target, and then the dump happened, and there we go. So we had to wait. So for those of you who entered, we got the entry absolutely right. We're now just got to get above this trend line, open and closing again. So we're kind of at that point on a lot of coins. We're at the make it or break it. And, you know, don't be fooled, guys. This could hit these lines and drop off and complete emotional cycles. Okay, so be careful. So Salt, we go and put a stop loss now to break even. If we get stopped out, I'll look to buy again because we really are looking at buying the bottoms here. It may do 100% retracement, but for now it kind of seems to have held this line here through here. In the first cycle, look, support, it came down, it found support. So this seems to be the line of support on Salt, doesn't it? Just on the most basic of basic analysis, you can see that. We've broken the downward trend. We're now trying to get back on the upward trend. The daily looks really, really strong on the RSI. And the 3 days just turning. So I've got hopes that probably over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're going to hit our target of 7,100 sats for Salt. So I don't know. Did any of you get in the Salt trade with me? Let me know. XLM, another one that we put a signal out for just as this dump down happened. I did put another signal out last week. I think it was below 4,000. So we're kind of still hanging out there. But for me now, maybe on XLM, if I get stopped out at break even, I may not re-enter for now because you can see it's got a lot further to go in its emotional cycle as opposed to the other. And it's losing support, as you can see, and it's losing momentum. So we may get stopped out of XLM. Some of you may want to take a bit of small profit if you can. Let me know if any of you took some profit on the XLM. So my Telegram is beeping. Okay. Let's just check if anybody's left any messages on the Facebook asking for any coins to check. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. 1 second, guys, just bear with me. I'm just going back to the Crypto Investment Facebook to see if anybody in particular has asked me to check anything. Okay, nope. Right, so let's move on. We've got a few more before we've got to go. Litecoin, Salt, XLM. Zcash I'm very big on, and we sent out a signal this week to buy Zcash. I mean, this was another awesome opportunity to buy a great coin below $300 back here. So I really stacked up on Zcash, and I was getting everybody. Like Dash, this is definitely one that you should hold in your portfolio. And, you know, guys, when you're trading, you should really have 90% of your money in the top sort of 5, 10 coins, and 10% for trading the smaller alts. So, and when you do have a winning trade and you take some profit and you want to put it in some value, buy Ethereum, buy Zcash, but buy them at the right times. Find the coin with the larger market cap that looks like it's a good place to buy, not when it's at the top, and stick it there. All right, Vid, see you later, man. Okay, we only got time to look at a few more. Strat, we sent a signal out for. To buy in here, we got some support. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with Strat as well. Unfortunately, with Strat, I got stuck playing Strat on this downward emotional cycle here a lot. And in here was the perfect time to be buying Strat, right? And again, the impatient people would have got washed out because it just went sideways. It didn't really go anywhere, but that was obviously the place to make it. And it had the same fall as everybody else, and it's a small emotional cycle. But if you look at the previous cycle, Strat's got a lot of room to grow. And I know there's a lot of supporters of Strat. So I'm really hoping that we've started to form a small Elliott wave here. And let's see. So again, place the stop loss at break even and just wash out the noise. If we get stopped out, we'll relook at it. But it kind of looks like it's losing momentum as well at this stage. Okay, we can't win every trade, but we also try to make sure that we get the best entry. And if we don't make money, we make sure we don't lose money. So overall, and I think the last trade that we're in is XRP. So a lot of people will be happy to see that it's making a little bit of a run now. Just the same thing. Look, it's just the emotional cycle again. A lot of people bought it at the wrong time. I remember at the time we played this perfectly. I don't know if anybody here that's now listening played with us, but we played this run up from in here. We played this run perfectly to there. And then when it came down, we thought it was the end, and then we got this, and a lot of people chased it, and then it bled down. So all that happened was it was a really long wave 5, okay, and then it come down and it's done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, no, sorry, what am I talking about? I'm on a small time frame, so let's go out a bit. You can see that we've really we've really bounced off an 88% retracement. So I'm hoping if there's one thing I can teach you today, guys, whether you're a long-term holder, short-term holder, my style is not really to sit here and watch 15-minute candles and just day trade for scalp trades all day. I like to find the Elliott waves, and I believe in crypto you can make 200% trades over 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Sometimes they play out in a few days. But I'm more than happy to find those trades, put my money in, and just wash out the noise in between and let the trade play out. And go to the beach, go drink margaritas, if we can do some charity work, you know, whatever it is. Go and live your, it's about freedom. Freedom is not sitting looking at your blockfolio every 2 minutes. So this is why it's important to map out a trade. And again, it's just done. It had a really big, expansive run, right, where it just took off on the green cloud, look, miles away, and it crashed back down through it. So hopefully this is the resurgence. I did send out a signal to buy it on this consolidation here. So we're up about 16% at the moment. So again, you can place your stop loss there, maybe 5%. Let's see how we're looking on this one. So the good signs, we're trading above the 3-hour cloud. We need that momentum to still turn over. We're trying in the 6 hours, so probably expect some resistance around about the $1.30 mark. For those of you who are happy with smaller percentages, $1.30 is probably going to be a good point to take 30%. I would expect some resistance there. Let's have a look at this for a second. Come on. We yeah, I mean, you know, we've broken all the downward trends on Ripple, so let's have a look at the trend we need to follow. Yeah. So we're in the right direction with Ripple. I mean, I'm not a fan of Ripple, but if it makes me US dollars, then I'm a fan of Ripple, right? So okay, so we're again getting up to that point there. I don't know why this has gone back to 9. Let me just check this. Why does that keep changing? Right. So again, it's following the same patterns as the others. Right, we're getting some momentum. Heading to the oversold, but looking strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if we might go sideways a little here on Ripple. So don't panic about that, but the long-term outlook looks good. So my target for Ripple would, my immediate target, oh, come on. Come on. Right, so my immediate target for Ripple is going to be probably looking at the here, $1.69, $1.70 mark, I think. You could probably look to take it, as I said there, around that $1.30. But I'm going to be looking on Ripple to meet resistance maybe in this cloud here on this fib line. And then maybe get a, if we form an Elliott wave, we're probably going to do something like this. So a good part of learning analysis is to try and have a bit of a crystal ball, you know, and try to predict where things are going to go. So, you know, we've still got a final target of $3.30, okay? If it plays out properly and if you can be patient and hold on, but there's no reason why we won't come back and challenge this all-time high. Again, there's a lot of confluence there, isn't there? Previous all-time high. So something like that is what I'd be looking at. We got in down here. And if this plays out, we can play this whole wave. We can look to rebuy here. We can look to sell some here. We can look to rebuy here. And we just make decisions based on what the market is doing as we go. So green is a buy and red is a sell for me. So I'll just put these on here for later. So the reds are my targets where I look to take some profit off the table. No emotions. There we go. So this trade is either going to follow the map. Hey Everett, how you doing, man? So this trade is obviously going to follow the map or it isn't, okay? So we got in here on this consolidation. purchased. We've now moved far away that we can put a stop loss at the break even. So we're prepared for both ways. We are prepared to have a point to take some profit off the table. And at that point, we're looking at a nice 80%. We'll take some off the table, hold some. If it plays out here and gets support, we buy some more. So we're still holding 50% here. We buy some more here, expecting to maybe sell some here. And if it falls through this number 2 point, then we sell. We just take what the market can give us. If it gives us 15%, great. If it gives us 500%, awesome. No emotions. Map out the trade and just keep your eye on it. Okay? And that's what we like to teach over at Cryptogasmic. So somebody asked me to check ADA. There it is. Okay, so let's have a look. ADA is not one that I'm in at the moment, but it's one I do want to get in because it just had this huge impulsive rate and I missed it. So there is no way in the world that I was chasing this run. So now it's doing its typical move down. 1, 2. Let's kind of hope that maybe that's the run down. So let's have a look at this one. So there isn't a 200. Okay, so let's have a look. Yeah, Trading View. Trading View, David. So let's have a look. Let's do some analysis on this then. Okay. So right now we're sitting on the 61.8 retracement, which could be a point where it turns around. These are the point of interest that we're looking for here and here. So in order for me to be positive about a trade, I need about 5 areas of confluence to agree. So right now, the first area of confluence that doesn't agree is, does this have a lot further to run down? Yes, it does. Okay. So I'm not there based on that. Because that could easily come down to the 88.3, it could come down and do 100%. You don't want to be the guy who buys it here and then you're stuck holding it while you don't want to be the guy who runs out and buys it here with no confirmation of support and is stuck holding it here. Because by the time you get to here, what the 90% will do is they'll panic and go, oh shit, I bought $1,000 worth of this. Oh my God, it's now only worth $200. I've got to get out and make my money back. And they sell. And then what happens? It gains support and then it starts again. That's what the 90% do. Thanks, Tiago. So don't be that person. I've only got about 5 or 10 minutes more myself. It's gone a bit longer than what I was thinking. I've got to get back to the conference. Right, so let's have a look at some trends. So we're obviously way below that trend. So we're now creating a new trend. As to whether that's there or there, we don't know yet. So, we could put it there for reference for later and have a look. So we're looking for support in this area. So we're right on an area now where it needs to break the downtrend. So this is really an area of interest where we are now. Why? Because it was the 61.8 fib line. It's right on that downward trend on the daily line chart. We've just made up this trend. It needs to stay above that trend if it is to be bullish. So I'm still not convinced on that one yet. The daily still wants to fall. 3 dailies just hit the floor. 12 hourlies turned. So it's trying to find some strength. MACD is still way on the floor. Yeah, I mean, it's really hit rock bottom. Look, come all the way down. It tried again, and it's just finding it really, really hard. So it's obviously getting to the bottom of its cycle, but is it there yet? I I can't confirm that. Okay, I can't confirm that you're at the bottom. So how I would play this coin right now, I probably wouldn't be chasing the impulse wave. Okay, if it's going to make its way, it's still below the moving averages here. It needs to make an impulsive run up. So I wouldn't be running out and buying this one right now. And even if tomorrow you wake up and it goes 80% and you think, screw you, crypto, what are you doing, you fucking idiot? Like, don't do that, because we know that things move in Elliott waves. Okay, so it could go like that, and then find resistance here, and then start to find support. And then that would be the point that you buy it, because it's confirming an Elliott wave. It'll stay above the trend line. There's a big difference between buying it, even though it's the same price, there's a massive difference between buying it here and here. You buy it here, you're chasing an impulse. You buying it here, you're getting a private entry. Because if you buy it here, you've got to be the person that you don't know where it's going to stop. It could stop here, 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 could finish. So you buy it here, you're going to be in limbo, not knowing where it stops. At least if you buy it here and we start forming an Elliott wave, you can map a plan. And if it doesn't go to plan, you get out. And if it goes to the plan, you take the profit. So that's the way I'd be playing ADA now. Who was that? Who asked for ADA? Can't remember. Who asked for me to check that one? Anyway, Elad. Elad, you're from, we were talking the other day, right? You're from, where are you from, Elad? Tel Aviv, that's right. I wanted to ask before I started throwing the salam alaikum words around. Because I used to live in Dubai. Yes, shalom, my friend. Welcome, 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 welcome. Good to have you. So there you go. You're online, shalom. So that's the way I would play ADA. I wouldn't be running out and buying that yet, man. There's no confirmation there. So I hope that helps you. I hope that helps. So that one's not on my to-go-to list. And another thing I've got to point out, guys, you shouldn't be in any more than 2 or 3 trades at a time. So really pick your trades carefully. So that's not one that I would be running at. After all, what was that you just posted? So you must be happy with Ripple at the moment as well. Let's see, because it's getting a little bit of a run now. We picked that reversal, which was good. Okay, so after all the dump, APC, I've waited for the first wave, wait to finish the second, and bought. Okay, I'm not sure if that's a question or a statement, but if it's a statement, well done. Okay, I've got time to check maybe 1 or 2 more, guys. IOST. I'm not familiar with this one. Let's have a look. Okay, IOST. Let's have a look. Okay, strange chart. So not a lot of history to go on, which makes it very, very difficult. I don't like these kind of charts. There's really, let's have a, I mean, I will do my best to give you some analysis on it. It's jumped above the moving average. So obviously it come out of ICO and it just hit the floor. Is that right, by the look of it? It looks like it just hit the floor. Right, what have we got here? So we didn't form an Elliott wave yet. Okay, so my analysis would be the same on this. Don't chase this impulsive run up. I wouldn't chase it. So a good sign, you can see on the hourly here where it started to ramp up. Look, the bottoms got higher. It ramped up and it hit the top of the hourly cloud and boom, it went off. So unless you grab it in this stage, don't chase it and run it and get it here. Because we understand the emotional cycle and we understand that it's going to find a top and it's going to retrace somewhere. So what we want to do, if I was you, so regarding, are you entered at 440? Yeah, good entry. Okay. So what's the question you're asking me? I don't understand why you want me to check it. You're asking me where do I think it's going to go? I don't understand, David, what it is you're asking me. It's looking strong. It's oversold on the 3 daily. I think it will go up a bit for the next day or so. Yeah, it's found a double bottom here. Okay, so that seems to be the bottom. Tried to make, and this is what I mean about sometimes it takes a couple of times to get into a trade. You might have chased this impulse, and a lot of people have chased it, and then it's turned around, and then you've got to buy it again. Maybe this is the impulse. It's right now challenging this top again here. I think if it can break through there, you're probably looking at somewhere in here. So I'd probably set my target around there. And again, this is just what I would do. It's not advice. You do what you want to do. But this is just how I would play this coin if I was in this coin. Obviously, if you bought in at 440, I'd have a stop loss at break even right now. You've moved away from the target. If you bought at 440, yeah, 10%. Put a stop loss at break even. See how it pays out, man. If it turns around and bottoms out, you could probably buy again. All right, we've got a double bottom here. It may come back down, and then the third one is the one that goes, or maybe here. The way I trade, I don't chase first impulses usually. So I'd be setting my target around, which you got in 440, around that line there, maybe a bit. No, what am I talking about? Forget that. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, hang on. I'm looking at the 6 hour time frame. So look, let's look at it another way. Let's look at it in a different way. Okay, let's look at it this way. Yeah, that makes more sense. So I'd have a stop loss at break even, and I would be looking for a run up to challenge this top in here. In there somewhere would be my target zone. Nope, what am I talking about? There. In there. Somewhere between there. Right, so that would be my target zone for the trade. 440, which would give you a nice 80% trade. And then if we make an Elliott wave, it should go something like this. What you're hoping for is something like this, maybe to that top there. Come down and challenge here again. Something like challenge that top. That's what you're looking for, something like that. So I'd be looking for a sell around here. Just remember, it's not going to go to the moon forever. And if you don't want to sell it there, just understand that it's going to retrace. And then we'll try and find a retracement point, and hopefully it doesn't go all the way. And if we can get an Elliott wave formation, we can map it out from there. I think that's all I've got time for today, guys. In which coin you sell when the target hit? Newbie here. Hey, Anton. Nice to meet you. In which coin you sell when the target hits? Whatever coin you bought the trade in. One of the biggest mistakes I see is people will enter with US dollars and they buy some Bitcoin. Let's say they buy $100 of Bitcoin, $1,000, or whatever of Bitcoin. And then they go and buy an iOS token in iOS Bitcoin. They buy it, but then they watch it in US dollar currency, and they sort of convert back and they go, okay, I paid 480 sats for it, so that is 50 cents. and they start watching it in US dollars. But you've got to watch it in the currency that you did the trade in. That's really rule number one. Okay, really rule number one. If you're buying the trade in Bitcoin, don't watch it on the US dollar. It's a completely different trade. All right, you've got to watch it in Bitcoin value or Ethereum value. Does that answer the question, Anton? I'm not sure whether that's what you're actually asking me or not. Yeah, it's a big mistake that everybody makes, and it'll screw you up and it'll wreck you in the end, because the price of Bitcoin is moving. So you're thinking you're making more money than what you are, and then when it falls, you're losing money faster than what you think. Okay, so if you're buying in Bitcoin, put it in Blockfolio as the Bitcoin pairing, and then you can watch your overall portfolio in US dollars. But individually, if you go in and you buy EOS in Ethereum, then you've got to go into your trading view up here, and you've got to go EOS and find the EOS Ethereum pairing on whatever platform, and you've got to do your trade on that. You can't map out a trade in Bitcoin and then monitor it in US dollars. You just can't do that, because the price of Bitcoin is changing all the time, you know. And what we're trying to do is double down. So in times when Bitcoin is taking off like now, we get into trades like that we're in now. So it's a win-win. Bitcoin is going up in US dollars. At the same time, we're stacking more Bitcoin in our trade. So we put one Bitcoin in OMG, we do 100% trade, we walk away with 2 Bitcoins. And 1 week ago, one Bitcoin was worth 10,000, now it's worth 20,000. Boom, boom, it's a win-win. But reverse that, and it is the same going down. So not only are you started with 10 Bitcoin, but now you've lost a trade and you've only got 9.6 Bitcoin, or maybe you've won the trade, you've got 10 Bitcoin and now you've got 10.3, but your US dollar value has gone down 10%. It's just, you can't do it. So I hope that answers the question, Anton. Yes, sell in whatever currency that you bought in. Yeah, whatever currency you bought in, that's what I recommend. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you gathered some good information out of all that. I really enjoy doing these sessions. Keep your eye on that Bitcoin, because it is the father of all. Our other trades are really safe at the moment. You should have yourself covered with a stop loss. So there's absolutely no panic. Go to the pool, go to the beach, go to dinner, go shopping, go and meditate, masturbate, alleviate, whatever you want to do, right? Just go and do it. And, you know, I look forward to doing these more regularly once I'm back from my trip. All right, guys, namaste. Have a great day, and peace and freedom to all of you. Take care.